while I am going to be making a very important video on whether I think the United States of America is still worth going and still worth studying, I know a lot of you have your doubts, and that video will be out on my Hindi channel. In this video, what we are primarily doing is we're going to be following this article, this blog that's published on yamgrad.com. So if you have already read this, if you already know all of this and you've already finished this, hey, it may not be worth it and you may not want to spend time watching this video. But for those of you who would like a comparison between the USA, Canada and the UK, and you would like to know which can be the best alternative for you, we're just going to be comparing these on some grounds. I'm going to be listing some of those grounds, assuming that you're still with me. So there are university rankings, degree programs, tuition, living expenses, jobs, ability to work while studying, student visa, and the scope of PR. I think these are the most important factors that you would probably look at when you have to go for your study abroad program. It can be in any country, but I think these are some of the things that will affect you major, like in a major way. So yeah, without further ado, we will begin the video and we'll compare these destinations. Alright, now we're looking at the World University Rankings first, and we can see that the US has some of the top most universities in the world. In fact, if you take a look at the top 10 universities in the whole wide world, you will probably see that the Oxford University is the #1 education institution in the world rankings. University of Cambridge and Imperial College London are two universities that inspire the world with their exceptional education. However, the rest of the universities that occupy the top 10 positions are from the USA. So these 3 universities are from UK in the top 10 list, and apart from that, all the other 7 universities are from the United States of America. So over here, I would say that US takes the lead. US gains 1 point maybe, and you can say that there's so many high quality universities in the US that there's probably no comparison when it comes to the quantity and quality of schools. Both the US has them all. Okay, Canada also has some of the best universities in the world. However, they are not within the top 10, and that's something that you should know before you actually make up your mind and try to move to Canada and if you're worried about the rank of the university, hey, there are better universities in US and UK. Moving on, we'll take a look at the degree programs. Okay, so first thing, the degree programs are generally 1 year shorter in the UK. So you'll see that programs in the UK are probably 1 year shorter. If you're going for a PhD, it's 1 year shorter. Usually PhD is 4 to 6 years. When you take a look at UK, they can even be 3 years long. So yeah, that's one thing you may want to consider. If you want a shorter program, UK may be a good thing for you. But if you want to stay longer overseas, then maybe it's not a good thing for you. So it depends from person to person. Standardized tests, GRE and TOEFL, are very important, and they're considered now the TOEFL can also be replaced by any of the other linguistic tests like the IELTS, but these two tests like GRE and TOEFL are very important to the United States. Now the GRE may be replaced by SATs, ACTs, or GMAT, depending on what kind of a program you're going for. But chances are when you're going to the US, you can't just do with a language test. You need one more test, and that would be the test that basically tests your academic knowledge. And it's not really testing your academic knowledge, but still, it's one more test apart from just the English language test. Okay. However, most of the universities in Canada and UK do not require GRE scores or GMAT scores or anything of that sort. A good IELTS score can be the only thing you need to get admission into the universities which are belonging to Canada or the UK. Okay, so that's something. It's basically easier to get into these countries, just one test that you have to take, and these tests are also easy because everyone has to take these tests, be it a bachelor student, master's student, PhD student. So if you're a higher level student, you're basically competing against people who are from lower divisions as well, like people who are just from bachelor's or high school pass outs. So the test, my point is that the test is really easy. They're not making it very hard on that basis. Okay, the teaching style. Now I'm not going to be taking a look at this very much. I believe that your time in this video is very valuable, but I'll leave the link to this document in the description. What you can do is you can just go onto the link and you can read this. It's all free. You do not need to sign up or anything. Okay, the tuition. That's the important one, right? I know you were waiting for this. Okay, so the cost to study varies depending on the university you choose. Yeah, so the one thing that you need to know is that the cost is wildly variable on your university and depending on what kind of a program you're going. In fact, when people usually ask me about the cost, I cannot give them an average number. I can give them a range, but when people try to focus on one particular mark in the range, that hey, give us a number, a particular number, then it starts to depend on the country that you're going to, the program that you're doing, of course, you know, and other things such as the location of the university. So all these things matter a lot in that case. But however, the general trend would be that the universities are cheapest in Canada and they're the most expensive in the US. I'll give you a range over here right now, okay? However, but you should take care of this one little fact, is that more scholarships are offered in USA and UK as compared to Canada, okay? However, the universities in Canada are cheaper and you get to work from your first day of enrollment. So, you know, 20 hours per week, and I think that's a huge asset because you can earn at the same time while studying. And I know a lot of people that I am personally in touch with who have basically just paid off their whole program just by working. Okay, some of these are in research-based programs, but some people may not be in research-based program and they have paid off at least 1 year's tuition. So it completely depends on your circumstances. Okay, now the tuition you would see for, now this is all in US dollars, by the way, so that we can have a fair comparison. Undergraduate tuition for Canada would be around 22,000 US dollars. This is an average. Hey, this matters completely based on which program you're going for. In fact, I'll show you that right in a moment. Okay, graduate school, $13,000. Okay, this is US dollars. If you're going to UK, this would be around $14,000 to $30,000. This again varies on your program. MBA school will be somewhere you know, around the topmost point in this thing. Like you're looking at the graduate school, $15,000 to $45,000. I would say MBA is close to $40,000, but the engineering programs might be cheaper and they would be close to $20,000 maybe. So hey, you can clearly see the difference over here. UK is a lot costlier, but when you take a look at USA, it becomes even more costlier. The cost of education over there is insane. Okay, so $10,000 to $37,000 for undergraduate students, and graduate students it's $23,000 to $80,000. It's insane. And by the way, if you're wondering, these are per annum costs. You have to pay these every single year. And like I said, the range over here, like you can see, it's so like, you know, big, like 23,000 and 80,000, probably a 4 times difference, right? So it's huge. I know the range is huge, but it completely depends on the program, the location, the universities, and all of these things come in. So one thing you can do is you can take a look at the expenses for particular universities. I'll tell you how you can do that, but first let's take a look at the living expenses. Now these are actually in the particular currencies. So UK has around, you can say around £1,000. US has around 2,000 US dollars. You can say per month. Of course, this is a bit of an overestimate. It's not, some people even survive in $1,500, right? So it completely depends from person to person and their lifestyle. It's just a bit of an overestimate over here for all the countries, not just one. Okay, and Canada is about 1,300 Canadian dollars. Okay, if you want to find out the overall expenses for your particular program, what you can do is you can just click over here. You can just go onto this website, and then what you can say is you can maybe, you know, maybe you're interested in going to Stanford or something. Okay, so you type out Stanford, you can just take a look at the expenses for that depending on your degree. So if you're going for an engineering degree, you can see the expenses, the tuition, the living expenses right over here. If you're going for maybe a business program, you can take a look at the tuition again over here. Okay, they vary wildly depending on your program and university, and we have all the data, so you can just go ahead and check that out. Okay, for now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on to all articles, and this one that we were evaluating. The last thing that we talked about was the tuition and the living expenses. You can clearly see that the expenses are the highest in US, lowest in Canada. UK is somewhere in the middle, but still very close to the US, I would say. Okay. Finally, there's a few other things like jobs. I believe that's the most important criteria for anyone who's looking for a PR in this particular country, or a return on investment in this particular country, right? So I would say that the US has taken the lead in this one as well. $60,000 to $120,000 depending on the program. Again, this is insane. Like, this is the best that you will get. Okay, if you take a look at Canada, this would be $60,000 to $90,000, but make sure that you understand that this is Canadian dollars. okay, and Canadian dollar is worth less than what a US dollar is worth, right? And of course you already knew that, but in the case of UK it's $50,000, sorry, 50,000 pounds to 75,000 pounds. Again, you can see the differences. It's the return on your investment is basically very, very proportional to the country you're going to. So if you're spending a lot of money, you're going to the US, you know, I would say best place to be when you are looking at the return on investment. You would get the best return over there. Again, also make sure that you understand that UK does offer a big paycheck, but you cannot save as much money as you can save in the US staying in an expensive city like London. Okay, so yeah, one thing that you might have to, you know, might be interested in. Part-time jobs, and I'm just gonna rush because this video is a little too long than I expected it to be. Part-time jobs, you can see we're telling you that how many hours you can work, basically, you know, what are the conditions, can you work from the first day or not. Again, the link is in the description. So the earnings are about $11 to $16 for Canada. Again, these are in US dollars because, you know, all the things are written in dollars over here, so it's US dollars. And you can see that we're talking about all the number of hours you can work on campus, off campus. It completely depends on the country, the program, of course, but this is an average that we're giving out. You can check this out later on as well. The link is in the description. But I'm just telling you about the earnings over here. For the US, it's $8 to $15 per hour, completely depending on the location that you're going to and, you know, the sort of job that you are doing. Okay, and for the UK, it's about $7.5 to $8 per hour. Easy comparison. You can see over here that probably Canada does have the best rates over here. US also has the best rates, I would say, but you know, you need to be in the prime locations to get this $15 per hour. Okay, let's take a look at some other things. Now, the student visa, I think it's a bit out of scope because I can make a whole separate video on this, so I'm not going to be going over this topic over here. But what you can do is you can just go on to the blog. The link is again in the description. You can easily find out more. Okay, finally, the scope of PR, you already know. Easiest to get PR in Canada, you only have to work for 1 year after your program completion. Again, this is just an average, but if you work for 1 year after your program completion, you will probably have enough points to actually get the PR, and then you can even apply for citizenship in 3 years. So yeah, keep all of that in mind. I believe it will definitely help you. For the UK, to get a PR, you have to stay there for 6.5 to 9 years, or sometimes even more. During this period, you should not be self-employed, so you cannot do your own business or anything, and you should earn a minimum salary. There's a minimum salary requirement for 20,800 pounds per annum. Okay, so make sure that that's something that you're taking care of. For the US, I would say it completely depends on your country, which country you are coming from, the backlog from that country. Like I said, it can be an entirely separate video. There are videos that I've done on this, but it can take 10 to 20 years. It can even take 1 year, I would say, if you're not from India or China, I would say. Okay, and it can even take 50 years or 100 years if you're from India or China. So these things definitely come into the picture. And you know, again, one more thing, you're not allowed to be self-employed while you're in the US. You know, all these years that you're working over there, be it an H1B, OPT, whatever, you cannot be self-employed. Okay, so the bottom line, I would say, you know, you can just go on and read this article. It has a bottom line, it has a bonus, it has a university shortlisting tool. I'm not going to be going over most of that over here, but I'm going to give you my personal review. I haven't even read that bottom line over there, but what I'm telling you over here is that the important part comes down to you. You need to understand, if you are interested in gaining PR and you absolutely cannot take any risks, maybe you love to stay with your family and you want your family to come with you, you know, to whichever country you go, not right now, maybe later on, 3 years down the line, 4 years down the line. If that's something that interests you, if PR is something that you need, the only destination would be Canada over here. That's hands down the best destination. Okay, and as for the US and UK, like I said, on this channel, I keep you updated about the latest news. There's a bit of a, you know, tussle whether US is still worth going to, and I'm going to be making a separate video on that on my Hindi channel. But what I believe is that for now, no rules have been changed. Even though we heard a lot about, you know, 4 senators being against the OPT, we heard about, you know, Trump boycotting the STEM extension, or all of these things. It may even be coming up, but for now, as of now, on the point of making this video, this is the, I believe, the 17th of June 2020, there's been no such news as of now, right? And because of that, because of that, I think still US is giving you a much better return on your investment. If your goal is not PR, you do not care if you have to come back to your own country after 5, 6, 10 years, maybe even 3 years, I would say US is the best destination to go to, because they're giving you the return on investment. And for now, even though there's been so many things that's been going on, that hey, this might work against you, this may not be, you know, very good, they might boycott immigrants for some time temporarily just to save American jobs, but nothing has happened yet, and you need to understand that, you need to accept that. Okay, as long as it's not happened, this video still remains true. It remains valid, and I would say US is a top destination. You should still consider that, and UK would be the third on my list in that case. But again, number 1 or number 2, Canada or USA, that would completely depend on you, completely depend on what your priorities are. Okay, I hope this video helped give you some more perspective. I know I could not cover everything in this blog, because I'm really sorry, but you know, it took more than a week to write, I believe. So there's definitely a lot of information in here that I could not go into. Like, there's a lot of details that can definitely help you. I would definitely say, even if you watch the video and you have not read the article, go on, check it out, because this information is something that will make or break your next few years, right? Like, it can change the output, it can change the ROI. So take care of that. And I believe with that, I'll be signing out. If you need further updates from me, you know, comment down below, subscribe to the channel. Do not forget, guys, if you do that, you press the bell icon. Next time I put a video out, you will be the first to know. Okay, so I hope this video helped give you some perspective, and I'll see you in the next one. Connect with me on Instagram, on YouTube, whatever you want to do. I'll be here to help, all yours to help. Okay, I'll see you in the next one.